Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Startup Sense podcast. This is your host, Jonah Lupton. Once again, we're going to bring you a great episode in just a minute. A little bit of housekeeping here. If you get a chance, you want to give me a review, feel free to do so on iTunes or Google Play. If you have any feedback for me, feel free to shoot me an email at jonahlupton@gmail.com. I like hearing from everyone. Now, today's episode. So this is actually a guy I've gotten to know a little bit. We've had a couple conversations on the phone. Excited to interview him today for the podcast. It's Ori Goldman. He is the co-founder of a company called Loftey. Their website is loftey.com. That's Loftey.com. He started the company by himself, and then he brought in a couple guys to help him. So technically, there are three co-founders. The company was originally seeded by himself, by Ori. Then did a small friends and family round, and now he's looking at possibly doing a larger angel or seed round in the near future. Company is based in New York. Right now, their service is exclusively available in New York. They're in the real estate business. I forgot to mention that. We'll obviously talk about that more. 18-person team, couple virtual people, but for the most part, they're all in New York. Now let's talk to Ori. Ori, how are you, man?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
I don't know if you just heard that big bang in the background. I think it's pretty windy outside. So.
Oh yeah, where are you now?
I'm on Cape Cod right now.
All right, not bad.
No, not bad. It's a nice day. I don't even know what happened. I just heard some big bang outside. Okay, so talk to us about your company, Loftey. When did you start this company, and what exactly does the company do?
Sure. So I started this about 2 years ago and change. And what we do is we help people in New York find apartments to buy and rent. And the reason that we started the company was it was like many people, we saw a need, and it was a problem that I personally had, quote unquote, had to be a better way. And so we kind of went down that path, and things started to click once we saw that there was demand for it, and there were other people that had similar issues as us.
So what is your niche, and what was that issue that you experienced and wanted to solve?
Sure. So my brother had actually worked for a real estate company in New York. And when he first got into it, he would come home after a day's work and describe to us how the realtors were getting their clients. And he would describe highly illegal activities in terms of bait and switch, posting fake listings online, potential scams in terms of overcharging for application fees, a lot of really, really ugly stuff. And I would, always question him about it and say, why is it like this? Is it maybe just your company only? And after doing digging, we found out that A, it's extremely widespread and very, very common. 2, the regulators do not care. They know and they don't care. The buildings don't care. So it's this big problem that is kind of just something in New York where people just say, yep, it sucks. It's a scam business. You got to just be careful, and it is what it is. It is what it is was something where we kind of felt maybe we could take a crack at this.
Right. I mean, I can vouch for that. When I was looking for a place in Boston, I remember seeing a lot of listings, and then you'd call up and that place would be gone, and then they try to sell you on something different, or it is a very unregulated business.
Yeah, it's pretty ugly, and I've talked to the regulators as well. It's just something where I'm not sure they see the pain point, and I'm not sure that they're able to kind of staff enough people to monitor this stuff. I mean, it gets pretty ugly. I tell my clients this all the time. Some of these fake listings that our clients are sending us, saying, "Hey, this looks really great. Is this legitimate?" I look it up and I find that the photos are from a hotel in Miami, or the picture of the pool is from a hotel in Korea. I mean, these are apartments in New York with photos from hotels and buildings all over the world. So the bait and switching is very aggressive, and it's pretty bad here.
So talk to us about, you bootstrapped this business from the beginning, right?
Sure.
So what put you in a position to be able to bootstrap it?
Sure. So my background is in financial services. Out of college, I went into finance, and I did that for about 6 years. So saved up some money, and fortunately was in a position where I could kind of take a gamble on something like this.
And I assume you didn't just pick New York. You've been in New York for a number of years, right?
Yeah, I'm from New York, and out of school, I lived here, I worked here, I rented out of school. All of my friends rented out of school. This is a problem that is widespread, and it's something where I saw many people with the same experiences.
Now, I'm sure most people don't need to be told this, but I'll mention it anyways, that New York real estate is in a league of its own. Very expensive, both on the rental side and the sales side. So, I mean, you guys are going after very affluent people. How are you finding your customers?
Yeah, good question. That took quite a bit of work when we first started off because, first step, find the clients or test the demand. That's what we wanted to do. And at the beginning, that was a little tricky. It's unfortunately not as simple as throw a couple of ads on there and tell people about it. So that took a lot of tweaking and reworking, and we think that's kind of part of our proprietary process and what helps us make this thing run.
But in terms of finding them, I mean, are you guys finding them through, social media advertising, or is this, is it word
Sure.
of mouth, PR?
Yeah, good question. So since day one, it's been mostly social media and search engine advertising. We've been doing it for about 2 years. So at this point, we have a pretty strong presence on some of the review sites, and we've just dealt with enough clients that the engine of word of mouth is really starting to kick in, we're seeing. We've never really done any PR.
And now, what's the biggest part of your business? Is it rentals or is it sales?
So right now, the biggest part is rentals. We certainly hope to apply some of the things that we've learned and our technology to the sales market as well, because I think we can also add a lot of value there.
Now, do you have your own rental agents on payroll that would take customers to these buildings and show them?
You got it. Yeah, we have a team of agents that help people find the apartments. It's very, very hands-on, and it's a full service business. What we do a little bit differently is that most real estate companies really just accumulate as many agents as they can, train them as best as they can, and then it's just a mishmash of hundreds of people. We separate the roles a little bit, where we have a separate team that is 100% devoted to the initial customer contact. When someone comes to the site and they want to learn more, or they want to understand how it is that we're able to actually save them money, we have a separate team that does that explains how we work, that's there to answer any questions 24/7. And then if a client is willing to move forward with us and is interested, then they get handed off to one of our agents. And so it's a multi-step process, and I think that really differentiates us, because that allows us to control the quality a little bit. It's in a service business, it's tricky to hire a lot of people and just hope that things just go well with all the clients.
How much training do you guys put into, your process, and where do you like to hire from? What's an ideal hire for you guys? Because I've had some friends, that out of college did, luxury rentals in Boston, and they made a ton of money. I mean, there's a lot of money in the space.
Yeah. There's a lot of training that goes into it. And the main reason is, to answer your second question, we don't really love to hire ex-real estate people. We find that in some cases, they've just been taught the wrong thing for too long. And in New York, if you've been taught to bait and switch and do illegal stuff for 2 years, and that's what you've been doing every day for 2 years, it's tough. I mean, we've literally had people come in and say, how can we do this? How can we post only real listings? How are you going to get any clients that way? So we like to actually hire out of school, hungry, smart, young people who we think have good work ethic, and and ability to sell, and just very personable. And then they get trained over actually several months. Now, there's some kind of classroom training, and then over the first few months, we actually assist them in closing deals and how to communicate with clients, just all these things that you would kind of need to learn in your first job. A lot of these people fresh out of school, it's their first job.
And in terms of how do they typically get compensated? Do they get a percentage? I think usually works like these high-end rental places. If it isn't the rental agent fee typically the same as like the first month price?
Yeah, so it depends on the apartment. In many cases, the way that we work is we get paid by the buildings. Our business model is actually very different in that we never charge our clients anything. We only get paid on the back end from the landlord. That is very different in New York and actually allows us to add value. And then our agents are compensated off of a commission off that.
Gotcha.
But it's not something that comes from the client side. It's referral fees that we get on the back end.
Okay. And now I mentioned in the intro that you guys might be looking to raise some capital. What would be the reason for doing some fundraising? What would that capital go into?
Yeah, good question. So the one kind of quote unquote good problem, but still a problem that we've had since day one is there's always been more demand that we could handle. And it's very important for us to make sure that the clients are treated very, very well. That's the one thing that we're extremely focused on and that we will not sacrifice on. And so I think that if we want to grow more quickly, then just there's a couple of seats that we really need to fill. For example, a couple of months ago, there was a wave of demand because a couple of colleges partnered with us, and we don't even have someone that is, whose job is just to hire, for example. So we couldn't meet that demand, and it creates a problem for us. So we've been profitable since day one. The problem is we could grow slowly, or I think we could just raise a little bit of money to help us hire a couple of people, and then just kind of pour the fuel on the fire, because we think that there's demand for the service.
I mean, how hard is it to find the right people? I mean, New York, I don't know, there's like 8 or 9 million people, obviously. Not everyone's the right fit for your company, of course, but there's a million other companies in New York that are also hiring. So I mean, are you typically going after the people that are just coming out of college looking for a job opportunity?
Yeah, good question. It's very challenging. One thing that we have to do is try to be very careful about who comes in, and also monitoring these guys over the first few months that they're there. Yeah, we do try to go for kind of younger, out of school, certainly in the 20s. But what you do find is that real estate's an interesting space where you can just do so much. And we've had older professionals from other industries join us and be some of our more successful. We've had several lawyers. We've had some IT people. You get some of these people who have been interested in real estate their whole life and maybe went a safe route, and now when they're looking for a change, I think real estate's the first place they go because it's easy to get in. It's not that hard to get this license, and there are a lot of real estate companies that are willing to give people a shot. So I feel like that's one of the first places people kind of try as they're bridging different career paths.
I know right now you guys are just in New York. Do you have expansion plans on the horizon?
Yes, definitely. You know firsthand, the problem in New York is very serious, but it's not unique to here. I know that this happens in Boston. I know that in big cities like DC and LA, finding apartments is something that is still, it's like we're still in the 90s. I think in LA they still use Craigslist predominantly. Yeah, so I think that on the rental side, the way that we're able to help clients is very applicable. And then also when we start getting more aggressively into helping people buy apartments, that's also a part of the market that I think needs help, that's underserved.
When you say underserved, in what way?
Well, what we found is that the large brokerage companies that focus mostly on selling apartments, the good people and the top agents, they aren't really interested in helping people buy apartments, specifically first-time home buyers. They're more interested in managing the owner and selling the property as opposed to helping someone buy. And so we talked to many people who said, we were first-time home buyers. We literally couldn't find a broker to help us, and we had to do it on our own, and we screwed it up with offers and contracts, and things didn't go well, which I kind of found shocking. I mean, in New York City, if someone's looking for a $500,000 home to buy, that they literally were turned down by 10 people saying, sorry, I don't need your business. So I think the market for first-time home buyers and helping some younger people find places to live is very underserved.
Are all the agents in New York trying to go as high end as they possibly can, so they've kind of lost touch with reality?
Yeah, I think part of it is the pricing is that you want to just shoot for the sky, and part of it is just the safety and reliability of having listings where you're selling the unit as opposed to working with buyers is a little bit more consistent. If you're listing a unit, it's going to sell. You're going to get paid. If you're working with buyers, it's more of like a pipeline management type thing where you're going to work with a lot of people. There's a long sales cycle. You have to manage that. It's very time consuming. So it's a little bit of a different game and requires more patience.
Gotcha. I mean, in your business, I mean, in the real estate business, I guess, I don't know if this is even a fair question to ask. I mean, people that have, in their mid-20s, do you think they're better off doing rentals or doing sales?
You mean brokers or consumers?
Brokers.
Well, I think that it's like any like sales-oriented service, like what we mentioned on the pre-call where you were talking about wealth management. It's easy to kind of shoot for the sky and go for a big fish. There's always benefit to starting lower and being able to learn and becoming an expert in, let's say, rentals before you kind of jump in and try to go after buying $1 million, $2 million apartments.
Right. I mean, because on the sales side, I mean, you're only as good as you're able to either find clients looking to buy or to get listings to sell, right?
No, because your main value add as a buyer's real estate agent is your skill, is how helpful are you? How much value can you add? How much trust can you garner? And then the sales stuff kind of works around that. So if you don't have much experience and you try to go after these buyers, you can get as many buyers as you want, but you're not going to close any deals. And guess what? The reputation, that won't help either.
What's been the biggest, now, I forget if I asked you this already. I don't think I mentioned in the pre-call. When did you start this business?
Yeah, so 2015 is when I left my career in finance. We had started developing the website maybe a couple months before that, but it's about 2 years and change.
Okay. So in those 2 years, what's been the biggest challenge that you guys have faced?
The biggest challenge when we first started off, it's funny. So I touched on this a little bit, but to expand, the business model here is not charge the clients, but actually make it cheaper for them. What we do is we either pay for their moving expenses or we lower their rent, and we don't charge them anything. So it's basically free money for the clients. We thought initially, the hypothesis was throw a real estate website up, say that we're going to pay for their moving costs without charging them, and an avalanche of demand and clients would come through. And it just didn't happen. It just didn't happen like that. Clients didn't care. They thought it was too good to be true. There were no testimonials or proof. The website wasn't good enough. I could name 20 different things that impacted that initial hypothesis that, some people might say makes sense. If I go to you and I say, I'm going to give you money, I'm going to help you find a place, and you're not going to pay me, that sounds pretty good, but it just didn't work that way. So I think initially the biggest challenge was how do we establish the value add in terms of branding and messaging? How do we establish that and make it so that clients are interested, clients trust us, and then after that, how do we kind of build that out and scale the consumer demand? So that's something that's always been evolving and something that we're always working on.
And what did you guys do for the website? Did you guys build that in-house?
Yeah, so we did an MVP with a company that was referred to me, and we got really lucky where we were really happy with them, and we're still working with them. So it's been 2+ years of outsourced development, and I know that that's not easy because there's horror stories there too, but we got very lucky, and our guys are very good.
Awesome. I mean, and how does it work with the rental department? Like I know on the sales side, there's the MLS system. Is there something similar for rentals?
There is, and that's why we started here, and that's why we were able to jump in so quickly. It is an open listing system in New York for rentals as well as sales, which means not 100%, but virtually all quality listings. If I want to, I can bring my client to. I don't need to have that relationship with the landlord, and that's better for consumers, and that's what allowed us to start quickly.
Gotcha. Okay. Anything else I skipped over that you wanted a chance to mention? Anything with regards to, I mean, marketing, customer acquisition? I mean, are you guys profitable right now, or I mean, are you focused on profits, or are you more focused on, really just growing market share?
Yeah, we are profitable. We are focused on growing it lean. The good and the bad thing about this space, and we touched on this earlier, I've seen a lot of startups in this space come and go because there are grand ideas in real estate. Get rid of this, get rid of that, and see what happens. And it just doesn't work. It's not as simple as people think. And so I think in this space, it's important not to bite off more than you can chew. So we're very focused on doing it as lean as possible. Right now, our focus is on building the brand. The demand is getting to a point where we're steadily growing. We're constantly hiring new people, and we're kind of at a stage where we're really ready to take it to the next level. And we're looking to become the brand name in rentals in New York. And by our service is simply superior from a client perspective to what's out there. We are able to find people apartments more cheaply than anyone else, even versus clients looking on their own. So I guess the only kind of main thought I had about how we started is it is still interesting to me, and this is our biggest challenge, that we have the best service, in my opinion, out there. Certainly from a financial perspective. If someone rents an apartment through us, they will do it more cheaply than with someone else or on their own. But that's not enough. That's not enough. The things like things I mentioned earlier are the most important thing: branding, messaging, how you position the advertising, the agents that you hire. It's obvious, but it's not as simple as the good idea, because execution is everything.
And then I also say, I mean, when you come onto the Loftey website, under the section "Why You'll Love Us," you talk about a free move. What does that mean?
So if you rent an apartment with us, then we will send a moving company to your door, and we will pay for it, and you don't pay us anything.
Jeez. Now, I assume, is that only from like a New York to a New York apartment, meaning that they're already in the city, right?
Yeah, that's New York to New York. Option B is we're going to lower the rent on the apartment that you end up in. So roommates and people coming from out of town, they get option B, which is their costs are being lowered.
Now, do you guys have your own moving company built into Loftey, or are you partnering with third parties?
Initially that was the idea behind that perk. We're not quite there yet. I think maybe at larger scale we will, but for now we just have some partners that we work with.
Okay. And then what do you guys do for storage? Because it seems like the physical storage market is booming everywhere, where people are looking to, put more and more stuff into storage, to kind of free up space in their apartments. Because as we all know, apartments in New York are not very big in most cases.
Yeah, that's interesting. There are a couple of interesting startups that are doing that kind of storage where they pick things up and you can get it whenever you want. We're not quite there yet. I haven't had a client ever tell me that they use that. So I'm not quite seeing the demand and use yet. Although I do think it's interesting because of how seamless they've made the whole. We'll pick this up, we'll drop it off, and we'll store it for you. But
Right.
I
And
haven't seen it yet.
and let us know whenever you want us to bring something back to you. We can. Like, I interviewed a company called Omni, and they're doing this out in San Francisco. And they
Okay.
take pictures of all your stuff. They label everything. They put it in boxes, and you can go on their website and actually see all your items and pick which ones you want to have delivered back to you. And same day or next day, that set of golf clubs or the surfboard or the couch, whatever it might be, comes back to you. Um, but I think that works better for people that are moving from like outside the city to inside the
Yeah.
city, and they have more
Yeah.
stuff to get rid of. In your cases, it's people that are probably already in New York, just moving to a
Yeah.
nicer apartment.
Yeah. Yep.
That's pretty much all I got for you, man. I know you're a busy guy. It's a Friday afternoon. You probably what do Fridays in New York look like for you?
For us, so again, the team's still pretty small. We are usually from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. back-to-back phone calls with clients every day.
Jeez. And
So
I see you guys probably work a
yeah,
lot on the weekends too, right?
yeah, a lot of showings happen on weekends, and the website doesn't turn off, so that's still when a lot of people look. Surprisingly, people actually are more active on Mondays and Tuesdays, probably after they've had an unsuccessful weekend looking, rather than on the weekends, which was surprising. So it looks like people like to browse at work as opposed to at home.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, man, for being a guest.
Yeah, thank you
Really
for having me.
glad we got a chance to chat here. What's the best way to follow you on social media? Do you use Twitter, LinkedIn, any of that stuff?
Yeah, we have a great Instagram page, Loftey NYC, and then our Facebook page as well. And we're starting to put out a little bit more content, stuff that'll really help future renters, future buyers, and just some interesting information. So that would be it.
Awesome. And what's the single best piece of advice anyone's ever given you, like business advice?
Uh,
Or give us your
uh,
own advice, something from yourself.
Sure. Yeah, I think maybe what I was touching on earlier, which is uh, I've seen a lot of build it and then they'll come, and I'm a pretty big believer in the whole lean startup methodology, and I've just seen it work. I think that for people who have great ideas and are looking to maybe start something on their own, it's very important to test. You just don't know what the market's going to say, and it's tricky to pour a lot of money and resources into something without confirming demand and doing that whole market fit test.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, man. We'll end on that note. Wish you more success and look forward to staying in touch with you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the time.
Got it, man. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Have a good one. Bye.